What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're back. We are finally back for my team career mode. Smash that like button if you want to see more of this more often. We're here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Check out the last one if you haven't seen it already. It was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. We were decently fast. Could have got some points, but some things went against us. But let's see if we can make some more progress into this one. Unfortunately, we haven't started the episode off on the right foot, as we have a failed upgrade for the front downforce, which is going to set us back. And we're unable to get this on the car in time for the next Grand Prix. So, yeah, it leaves us in a bit of a tight spot heading into this next race, as it looks like we're probably not going to get any upgrades on because of the quick turnaround between Baku and Canada. So we might have a big uptake in performance in the next episode, that being the Austrian Grand Prix. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, heading into Canada, we'll look to capitalize on the misfortune of others. We're not quite in a position where we're able to challenge the fronts or even the points at times. We're still the third worst car, and there's a bit of a gap to the top 7 teams. Alfa Romeo improving quite drastically, so it might be a fight between us and them for fringe points, or just outside the top 10 or something. You never know. Could rain. That's what I'm hoping for. At this point, we look pretty competitive in the rain, and so I'm doing the rain dance every time we head to a Grand Prix. But here's the setup that I'm running for Canada. It's a time trial setup, so feel free to pause the video and note it down for yourself. It works in online, works in career mode, works everywhere, I suppose. One thing I would probably adjust is maybe go 3-7 wings if you're not so good at catching an oversteery car. But yeah, that's something that I will do as we head into qualifying. The car does become a bit more sketchy in those high-risk sessions. So we've built up more resource points over practice. I'm going to consolidate the front downforce upgrade that failed at the start of the episode. We also did a major drag reduction upgrade, which will come in time for Austria. And we can get one more downforce upgrade in, and that's for the rear. So major air upgrades coming for the next Grand Prix. Practice out of the way, it is time for qualifying now for the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to hope to get out of Q1. I feel like we've got the car to do so now. Hopefully both of us, myself and Lewis, can do that, and we can, I don't know, put some pressure on the teams ahead. So we'll see how it goes for us. I only want to use 1, maybe 2 sets of tires in this session, because like I said, I want to get through to the next session and then make the top teams a little bit nervous with our pace. We can make up a little bit of the difference here at Canada. This is a bravery circuit with, you know, the nature of some of the corners. You can really cheese the final chicane if you really, really push the boundaries. So we may risk a front wing or two flying through that last chicane in an effort to get a last-ditch lap in. It's what I did in practice for my qualifying pace program. I lost my wing because I went in so fast into the final chicane. So practice makes perfect, essentially. But the only time you want to do that is, you know, at the end of the lap. So we'll see how it goes for us. Anyway, this is the end of Q1, and you can see we're up by nearly 3/10 in our current lap, which puts us P20 at the moment. Through the final chicane, I really chucked the car in there, and the rear end nearly disconnected completely. We come across the line, and we get into Q2, just about. But the person we knocked out was our teammate, unfortunately. So Lewis Hamilton bows out of qualifying. He was only a 10th behind us, so pretty good effort from him. Like I said, I made up all that time with the track being at its best and really flying over the last chicane. So you can't get away with that all of the time. But Q2 was not good for us. We only had 1 new set of tires to utilize. I went out for that lap at the end of the session, and it was a stinker. I actually went in too deep to the first part of the final chicane and then had a terrible exit. And that was a lap. So it's P16 for this Canadian Grand Prix. I think we can move forward if strategy is on our side. It's a slipstreaming circuit, so anything's possible.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at a fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than a tenth of a second. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position and Jack Aitken completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Gasly, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Sainz, Ricciardo, Russell and Lance Stroll, Norris, Kvyat, Esteban Ocon and Hubert, Magnussen, Day, Lewis Hamilton and Nicholas Latifi, De Vries, Schumacher, Matsushita and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So it looks like Verstappen got a good lap in quali, but has got a grid penalty for this race. So the Mercedes have ascendancy, much needed ascendancy in this one, as Red Bull have taken a bit of a stranglehold on this championship in the last 2 rounds if you've missed them. But yeah, it'll be a nice and fierce battle at the top. For us, yeah, track position isn't on our side. We're going to make use of the 2-stop today. Tyre wear pretty harsh around here, especially on the rear tyres. So, you know, if we can minimize the wheel spin, then we're on target for a good Grand Prix. Hamilton is going for the contra strategy, medium hard or medium soft. So I'm going to start on softs and go different to Hamilton, and hopefully at the end of the day, something good can come of this team on whatever strategy we choose. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Grand Prix of Canada. And it was a great start from Magnussen, but had nowhere to go. We got the inside of our teammate, and Latifi goes from, what, second last row of the grid to P14, P15 in that Haas. Great effort from him on the first lap. His driver's stats, by the way, I checked them in the menus. They are absolutely amazing. He's got 87 pace. There's Nicholas Latifi. I mean, if I was strapped for cash, he might be a driver I'd pick up. But we are the most cashed up team that there is. Anyway, dive bomb. Cash does not buy good grammar. Take it from me. So we're up at the B12. We got past Danny Kvyat, who's on the medium compound tyres. He might be going for a one-stop strategy as well, given that he's in a front running team. Might have tyre upgrades. We'll have to wait and see. Up the inside, he goes into the hairpin. I nearly drilled the back of Norris as I tried to defend from Kvyat. So that was very close from us there. Kvyat. Or as Crofty would say, Danny Fiat. Yes, Fiat, the car company. He literally says that sometimes. I don't know. I can't get his name right to save my... Please, in the comments, spell it out how it's meant to be said, and I will do my best to take that pronunciation on board. I know it's been bugging you guys for the longest time, so I'll try and get it right eventually. Anyway, Danny doesn't need to have his last name mispronounced in the Toro Rosso. Oh no! In the AlphaTauri behind us. Had a little go there. What's worse? Saying his last name wrong or getting his team name wrong? Pick your poison. That's pretty bad. Imagine saying Toro Rosso in 2020. Imagine saying Force India in 2020. That would be horrific. Anyway, I'm going to bring my A game when it comes to commentary now, and I'm not going to make any more stuff-ups for the rest of the video, I promise. Anyway, lap 6, and you can see we're catching up to Norris again. Had a bit of a wobble over the last couple of laps, trying to defend from Danny and the AlphaTauri. We get around the outside of Lando Norris, though I can pronounce his name properly, as we go up in a rich and overtake. Give him a bit of a squeeze to the inside, and this could be a P11 for the taking here as we go around the outside, heading into the final chicane. Someone's got to yield. Nobody yields. I get a corner cutting warning, and Lando, I think, got a bit of a slap from my right rear tyre. Here's the replay. Down into the final chicane. There was contact. For sure there was contact. I didn't leave him enough room. I probably thought he was going to back out, to be honest. But at the end of the day, he's still got his front wing, and that's all I can really ask for. He's 5/10 behind me again. So at the end of the day, I think that's just about passable. That's okay. We're able to get on with our race. I'm coming into the pit lane. Does Norris follow me in? No, he does not. He carries on for another lap. So, yeah, into the lane we go. We're going to go onto a set of medium compound tyres, and we're going to see if we can make this strategy work for us. There were a few people who dived it in maybe a lap or two earlier than myself, which is going to give us a bit of flexibility later on in the Grand Prix, actually, as those top 10 runners, you know, qualified on their softs. They started the race on used softs. I had fresh softs at the start of the race. That was the advantage that I had, and we're going to hope to, again, carry that momentum, that ascendancy over those guys into the closing stages. But that was Lewis Hamilton we were just focusing in on. He's a few seconds up the road from me at the moment, and is going to be swiftly caught by the likes of Sainz and Russell in the laps to come. You can see that's the train of cars that we're looking at. Charles Leclerc is involved in that as well. I think one of the Renaults, Esteban Ocon possibly. But now Hamilton is really getting caught by these guys and is bringing them into my attacking range. So we're in a position now where we've got better tyres and they're within DRS and they're looking a little bit rattled, out of rhythm, you would have to say. So now we're looking pretty good for the rest of this race. We may be on target for a point or two in this Canadian Grand Prix. I can't believe it, but we're actually looking pretty solid here, especially since we've got DRS zones littered absolutely everywhere around the circuit. There's 3, I believe, as Daniel Ricciardo, just up the road, has an engine failure, and that puts us in the points for the first time in this career mode since Monaco. And this is legitimate points. This isn't like us needing to make another stop or out of sync with the rest of the field. We are legitimately challenging for points today in this Canadian Grand Prix. This is unbelievable. And there's more at stake for this race. We can get more. We can get 2 points if we get Sainz here in the next few laps. He's on soft compound tyres, starting to look a little bit weak, and as such, dives it in for his final stop of the race. So that's an interesting one. Those around us, had to dive it in early because they came in earlier in the first stint, and they're going to get a lap or two's undercut on us, which is concerning. Hopefully that doesn't put us out of touch with them in this final stint. I did my best to do qualifying laps in clear air so that we're close enough. We're still in DRS range maybe by the time we make our stop, and this is going to be all down to this pit stop and this final stint. So here we go. Carlos Sainz absolutely flying on his new medium compound tyres. He flies past in the McLaren, and he is a long way up the road. That's a massive undercut for Sainz. Maybe he's out of touch in this Grand Prix. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Remember Danny Kvyat? He is doing a one-stop in this race, and he's gone to hard compound tyres. He's not too far up the road, and he's actually going to start holding up the medium compound runners over the next few laps. So that's what I'm banking on. Getting close to Stroll to get DRS, which we have now. That's one box ticked. So we can utilize the DRS and Stroll's pace to drag us along abnormally in this Grand Prix, give us extra pace. That's one thing that's really been helping us in this race, is we genuinely haven't had the pace of these guys. But we got off to a good start, and we were in the slipstream and DRS, and we were getting dragged along with them and getting dragged away from the likes of my teammate and the back markers. It's really made me look a lot better than what my pace and consistency has been today. We've just been very lucky, and we've made the strategy work for us as well, no less. But yeah, Stroll is going to drag us along in this Grand Prix. I need to save a lap's worth of fuel. Fuel consumption in this car has been really good, so that's not really a concern. I can just run lean revs through Sector 1 and then through some of the traction zones like the hairpin leading on to the massive back straights. I'm even lean revs through here. So it's absolutely fine. We're running a lighter car, it's giving us extra pace, and it's looking after the rear tyres as well. This is an OP strategy that we're making work for us. And here he is, the man on screen, Danny Kvyat, holding up the next train of cars. You can see I'm struggling to hold on to the rear end. I really need to do a better job of managing the rears because the tyre wear is massively out of balance. at this track. There's no front tire wear. It's all on the rear. But anyway, we're getting to the closing stages of this race. We have been relatively looking after our tires, which has been quite nice. But we're starting to put the pressure on Lance Stroll. We might be able to get him here up the inside into turn 1. Thank you very much. That was a pinpoint accurate dive to the inside. Left him just enough space. Or he left me just enough space. The contact not to be made. And we get through for a point in this race once again. That was so close as well. But we got the job done. One of the McLaren drivers was closing up to me as well. That was Norris. So I had to make that move stick. Otherwise, Norris would have got me. He made his final stop on the same lap as me. So he's got a decent amount of pace. But we're getting to the back end of this race now. Still, Danny Kvyat holds up the likes of Russell, Leclerc, and Sainz. And this is Valtteri Bottas, who's made an unscheduled stop with about 2 laps to go. He's changed his front wing and gone onto a set of stock compound tyres. He's made contact with someone, one of the AlphaTauris, his teammates, Alexander Albon, who leads this race maybe, I'm not sure. But that is an extra point against our name now, as we now head on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. We could maybe still get George Russell. Valtteri Bottas sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. He is ranging up onto the back of Lando Norris, by the way. So if there was more time in this race, Valtteri would probably get us. But consequently, we might be able to get George Russell. We are running out of time now. This is the last lap, last opportunity, last throw of the dice. Going to try and get a nice exit out of the final couple of corners as Alexander Albon gets his first win in Formula 1. A dominant display in the Red Bull. I nearly said Renault there for a second. I don't know why. But, wow. Red Bull could be making a stake for the championship for sure. And Albon leads the charge with one of the Mercedes down in P2. I think that was Jack Aitken. Through the last corner for us. It was the final throw of the dice. I literally threw the kitchen sink at it to try and get George Russell. But in the end, it's 9th place. 2 points. The first points we've got since Monaco, which is not too bad in my books.
That's it then for another magnificent Canadian Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So there we go then, chaps. It is Alexander Albon getting his first win in my career mode, I believe, with Jack Aitken P2 and the Mercedes, Valtteri Bottas bottling it in the end, and that allows Max Verstappen to recover to get on the podium. So, good drives all around. Danny Kvyat going from P12 to P5 with a 1-stop. I think the only person in the field who was brave enough to do that strategy. So, fair play to him there. For us, like I said, I explained the strategy. We got off to a great start. We clung on to the DRS of those ahead, and they just dragged me to a good position. Had to push for a couple of laps on my own and do the overcut. And as a result, we had better tyres towards the end, and we really made that work for us. So, in the end, a bit of luck, but we really had to drive the nuts off this car to get the result that we were after, which was points. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Career Mode. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. But before we go, as the title suggests, we have some contract negotiations to deal with. And now, I wasn't expecting this at this point in the career mode, but because it's a shortened season, the contract negotiations have been brought forward. And as such, we have to negotiate with Lewis Hamilton on his contract. Shit.